Welcome to Talk Tennis. This is part 2 of your hot takes episode. On this one, we're going to cover gear hot takes, non-professional recreational tennis hot takes, and just some in general tennis hot takes. Yep. So let's get it started. Who wants to go? You?
Go, Manish. You got a lot.
You? Oh, I forgot to introduce everyone. Oak.
Nope.
Oak, Manish. I don't know what that was.
Manish has his own walk-up music.
Wireless call. I don't know. It's just spam. I'm sorry.
Troy is also here.
Manish, you said you had a crazy one?
You want to go with gear first or what?
He's sitting right next to me.
Oh.
E-zones are overhyped.
Oh. Get it out of here.
And I have an argument. It's a lot of it, and I'm not speaking a whole lot on playability because it is a great racket. The hype around the endorsements, because when I was at BNP and I was working the tent, most of the people I was talking to coming in were not telling me like, oh, what's the weight or like what's the string pattern, the beam and all that. No, is this the one Shelton plays with? I want the Shelton one. Or like, what is the Matty Keys one?
I thought it was Maddie, yeah.
Yeah.
Troy would say you're
nobody's
calculating.
so I think it's a lot more driven by endorsements than we think, than people actually liking the racket.
Says the RF user. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I know. Like, there's a level of
someone who switched to that before you even touched it.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, he did. In your mind. I read
I've played with the 98 tool. I've the previous one as well.
It's okay. You don't have to defend your hot take.
But no, it's a bit like I wouldn't.
Why is it overhyped?
I wouldn't recommend it to like kids who are coming into the.
Why not?
The 100L.
Well, I have a few points. First of all, I said to me the plushness is very appealing, yes, but that it doesn't give you a very good feedback and like the feel, which is what I personally would depend on for my game.
And you switched to that from the blade, which was soft and full of feel in 1820.
Again,
we're fighting.
This is overly muted for me.
This
and so stuff like
sideways.
that.
But you like the ripstick with the ports?
I did not. I did not. Go watch the review.
Calling you out.
I'll break in to say my hot take about gear. Pure drives are not as stiff as everyone says, and they're not the reason why your arm hurts.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Says the girl that has angel hair pasta in her wrist.
He's coming up. See, I shouldn't.
You know what? And mine actually ties into this too. My take is that the RFs, they're basically just 98-inch pure drives. And a little bit more flexible.
It's very similar to the Pure Drive 98.
Look at the beam geometry. Tell me there's a ton of difference.
It is very.
I am. My mouth hurts from laughing. I'm not even offended.
And then mine. I just wanted to add to this. Now that you brought up the E-zone being overhyped, when you look at the real so Yonex has a ton of players now.
Yeah.
On both sides.
A few.
Whether you're and even players that aren't even highly ranked. Curio still sells product. Yeah. Naomi still sells product.
He's not playing Wimbledon. Sorry.
Yeah. But like people like Kyrgios and Naomi, very trendy, very iconic players, not even highly ranked. And then you got like the Casper Ruuds, you got tons of players. Even Pagula's not really like a flashy player, but they just have a ton of players.
Yeah.
And so Yonex is hot right now, and the E-zone's their latest release. When the V-Course came out and the San Bejas came out, the Tommy Paul racket, that racket was hot. They
make good rackets.
Yes.
That's
but the thing I wanted to say is the Pure Drive, right? This was the E-zone 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when they had the Andy Roddick, they had the Kim Kleisters. They had a lot of really cool, edgy players. And not to say that they don't anymore, but they got Pericard. Fognini was really fun to watch, but he's kind of tailing off.
Mm-hmm. Jerry Shang?
Maybe if Jerry kind of makes up the ranks, Jerry.
Arthur Pizzo.
Yeah. They do still have some players, but not like the Roddicks.
Right.
Yeah. That are just he sold rackets in the U.S., And so they're similar type of rackets. This one's almost becoming more like the legendary racket. It was the hot, cool, hot rod
when I
racket.
said in the last episode the 90s era,
yeah,
it checks.
Yeah. Moya.
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
right.
It's becoming the pro style.
This is kind of like the cool blue racket now. They're both great rackets, but this is almost like an iconic. This is
100%.
almost becoming like pro staff because it's been around so long.
Yeah.
And the E-zone still kind of has that young cool factor and the players.
Got it.
Yeah, young
That's really what
players
it is.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, next hot
So you
take.
could call that overhyped.
Let's hear one from you, Troy.
On gear,
Gear.
I don't really have. Let's see, what do I have? Oh,
Uh-oh.
me personally don't think so. Are poly hybrids overhyped?
They're underhyped.
Underhyped?
Wait, what's the hot take? That they're overhyped?
Yeah, like
Oh.
do people think? Because I try to like recommend them to people. You know, people on the rec courts, and they're like, "Well, I don't really know about these poly." They don't really understand.
Underhyped.
Yeah,
Hat change.
and it's become, and the thing for me is it did become really a thing at the highest level on the pro tour.
That's true.
Sabalenka, Musetti,
Shelton.
Shelton, a lot of the
Casper
Onyx
Ruud.
players.
Yeah.
So I think people, and it's been talked about in the gearheads, our message boarders, our true Tennis Warehouse fans are like, oh, I've been doing poly hybrids for 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's become more surfaced now that the pros are doing it. But I've tried recommending it to people, and they're like, why would I mix two polys? Why wouldn't I just
get
go
that,
full
though.
blast or full hyper G?
But it's
Because
fun.
it's the fine tuning.
Oh,
Right.
I thought you were going to say
Do
fun.
you think?
Because I like them,
Yeah.
and I like the fine tune aspect.
Yeah.
There's thousands of combinations and permutations.
and
Even
colors.
companies
Yeah.
are diving into it as well with making the pre-made hybrids. Tourline famously now
Solenko.
does it. Solenko now does it with
Yeah.
the Mach 10 and the
I
Hyper
think,
G.
Like
doesn't
if-
Prince have
Do
some?
you think? And I think
Luxilon should bring out. They should do a Sabalenka.
They should.
It's
They really
the
should,
Alu with the old green one, the Timo or the Ace, the Big Banger Ace.
Oh, yeah.
It's Alu with
yeah, if
Ace.
they come out with that,
and
He
they
was still
discontinued
still
it.
hybrid.
Call it the Tiger Hybrid.
Do you think it is a bit more so driven by the cool, fancy colors, like the way Shelton does it and the way Ruud does it? Carew does
K-pop.
it. Yeah, shout out Tourline. Do you think it's more so driven by the way it looks rather than the way it might play? Because people are like, oh, what's that? Because you don't have the whole lot
that's
of
what catches
variety.
their eye. But like
Yeah.
Sabalenka's, most people can't tell
Yeah.
because it's silver and greenish. So there are some out there that you can't really tell. But yeah, I think this really catches people's eyes.
I mean,
because
Popularity, because you don't have a whole lot of color variations.
I
when
was
you
just
have a
going to
multi
say,
and
at the
a
most
natural dot.
basic level, it's something fun that we can do to
Yeah.
our racket. We don't have a ton that like a variation. It's like, yay, I'm going to match the strings or I'm
Yeah.
going to go opposite.
you could go
or-
the same exact string in two colors.
Yeah. Oh,
But-
totally. Yeah.
But I think the visual appeal, like when people see
okay,
Sheltons or some of the players on tour, where it's like you can really see the
Poppy,
two colors.
It's very poppy, yeah.
Tourline does that well.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
think
Shape-shifting or
I think the
color
brands
shifting.
that like Sabalenka and some of the players like Musetti, where you can't really tell the color difference, they should more advertise it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, for string brands, it's a way to sell more strings.
Like head Musetti's at one point was, it might be different now. I think it might be, but it was Lynx Tour Hawk Rough. And they discontinued the Hawk Rough. But for players like that and Sabalenka's that's
Yeah.
discontinued,
Yeah.
bring it back in a hybrid.
Bring it back.
Yeah, okay. How hard is it for? I mean, I would imagine it wouldn't be that hard to just create half sets of string they already have,
No.
and just make a new packaging.
But
right?
if you're the string geek that's like restringing often and playing around with hybrids, you can buy a pack and then cut it yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, like I don't.
But they
think,
took like Ace off the market. They took
Yeah,
Hawk Rough off
yeah.
the market. Bring it back for that player.
Bring it back.
And endorse it. But
Okay, what's another gear hot take? I have a few more if no one else.
I have
wants to.
one that says rackets over 100 square inches should not be discounted as too powerful for the modern game. See Venus and Serena.
okay, so rackets over 100 are still viable. They shouldn't be considered too powerful.
Correct.
Agassi.
I
Yep.
can see 107.
Although, is he using?
A pickleball paddle?
Yeah, man. Him and Annalie Water.
But you can still have touch with
yeah,
stuff over
you
100.
can. Yeah.
And it's like there is going to be a certain kind of player who would probably benefit from like a little bit more forgiveness, maybe a little bit more pop. But I don't think it's fair to classify anything over 100 as too powerful.
Yeah, it's
Obviously
a
it's gonna have more
stereotype.
power.
What is this string? Sorry, that was super random.
That's a string we're testing out right now.
Oh, sorry.
No. I think we sell them in Europe. Or no?
Oh.
Oh,
Anyways, next hot topic.
Yeah.
we don't,
Hot
but
take.
soon. But soon, they're coming soon.
I was gonna ask it for the longest of time we
For the
thought
longest
that
time. Oh, sorry.
that racket head size were getting towards going over 100 because we've had the 85s, then we had the 90 squinch head era, the 95.
So you're waiting for like a 102 to be
97,
like a
98.
standard.
Endorsed.
100.
it was
And
Serena
then
and
it kind of hit a plateau at 98, and then nobody's going over 98 and 100. So do you think we are going to just... Yeah, do you think we're going to just stop at 98 and 100, or do you think later on as the game gets even faster and even
I mean,
more
has anyone
spin
played with
oriented,
that?
we have...
Prince 120 Legacy.
Yeah,
I
do
did.
you think...
You're meeting with
B&B.
that. Yeah.
Do you think in the next 20 years we'll have a more 105s and 110s and 107s?
You need to get it in the hands of junior players and have them growing up used to that slightly oversized feeling, I think. Because if you have somebody who grows up playing 98 or 100, it's going to be hard for them to make the switch later down the road.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought because I was talking about this yesterday about extended rackets and how it was super popular in the 90s to have 28-inch long rackets.
Although like Michael Chang.
Yes, it was a bunch of Prince players were using it, and then it's like the transition out of that is actually tough. So like you said, start them young.
I think so, and like the Serena racket, that was also slightly extended.
Yeah.
And you're gonna tell me that she had too much power?
Yeah. She seemed to
And
control
there's
it.
a whole episode, the Served with Roddick.
Mm-hmm.
He had Ron Rocky from Wilson, and he talked about his experiences testing rackets in the off season with Serena, Roger. But he talked a lot about Serena because Serena, when she first came on the tour, used like a 115. Her and Venus used like a 110, 115. They used like a game improvement
And
racket.
not to also bring it back to the 90s, but that was before polystrings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then as the career went on, they went down in head size of 104 she had for a while, then the 102.
Yeah.
And they made up the power difference by going longer, like 28, but also the change of string. She went from all gut, her and Venus were all gut or nylon, whatever, to poly hybrid with gut mains. So there was the differences over the years, but they still settled on a 102,
Right.
28 inch.
Yeah.
I like it. I've got a hot take. Tennis players don't know what comfortable shoes are because none of the shoes on the market are all that comfortable.
I can
would
push for
vouch,
that.
there's very few that I nowadays are finding comfortable as well because I've been going very heavy on comfort side and stability side. So I agree.
I would say like there's maybe 3 really ones that stand out
you
as
can
far as
name them off your
comfort.
hand. CT Rally, SFX.
But then it doesn't fit always everyone.
It's a bit too.
The new one is quite different in comfort. The Diodora, the $240 shoe.
Yeah.
It is really comfortable.
And for the
show.
ladies, the Intrigue Tour is legit comfortable. That's one
Okay.
that I think of.
But
But,
there's
yeah,
step-in comfort versus long-term
on-court comfort. That's
'Cause-
the thing.
Yeah, because I was
Barricades
playing...
have never been comfortable.
Oh, no.
Period.
No, and that Diodora, I was getting comments from people that wear them that don't even really play tennis.
Yeah.
They're like, I've never had a tennis shoe given to me that like I would actually walk around in. Like most people walk around in running shoes around here.
Yeah.
Your
Shout out
Vomeros. But that was one. And I'm not talking about like functionality and comfort. I'm just talking
Right.
about flat out comfort. Yeah. But that's the balance, right? That's the problem.
Because
is
you need the
finding-
stability and the support
Yeah,
and the
but you want the
durability,
speed,
but
too.
I don't know.
And sometimes you don't know until like a couple hours.
Maybe it will eventually
to like
come.
hitting.
Yeah.
Like I was playing last night, and the shoes that I was wearing, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh,
in pain.
my Achilles is killing me.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what you were wearing?
No.
It's a killing me.
It's exactly. It was
It's
a
a
killing,
killing
me.
me.
It's killing me.
Is it a good one?
That's good.
Okay, next.
Oh, sorry.
that.
Sorry.
That wasn't a good dad joke?
Next hot take.
Do you guys want to stick to gear? Do you want to go to rec level?
I'm
I
gonna
got
gear.
one more gear.
Go for the gear.
Mine's just like a funny one. Singut smells better than a new can of tennis balls.
I actually agree with that.
Singut?
Singut.
I think VS does.
Yeah, I'm a natural gut guy.
VS smell?
Yeah.
I like
that
the
smells pretty
smell.
good.
I like
It
it.
smells
Yeah.
like
Okay, the free Singut we have out there.
When you walk by the warehouse door down
Singut?
outside in the parking lot, it's Singut. It's the smell.
when I
like
go
it's
down
gonna
in the warehouse, I smell fishing bait.
Oh no! It's right where the
Tackle
Sprinter
warehouse.
van's usually parked. That little open section of the warehouse. Anytime I pass it, it smells like Singut,
Singut smells like tennis. to
and
me.
it smells like my life.
Would you guys buy a
Nostalgia.
candle?
with the tennis can smell.
I almost bought you that for your Secret Santa.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I prefer the smell of VS.
Yeah,
you
I
guys
like
maybe don't
natural
smell it that
gut in
often.
I don't smell it that often.
Because stringing. But
then
if you open a pack of VS, and not all natural guts, but VS particularly, right?
yeah.
It smells kind of like if you pitched in baseball and you ever or played baseball.
The
The
leather.
pine tar.
Yeah,
No, the pine tar.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It smells like a piney. It's almost
Interesting.
like a piney finish.
I'm going to smell some
Little
VS
sharper.
after this.
Yeah, pine tar.
I would say in general I like natural gut, the smell of natural gut more so than sin gut, but yeah, the VS.
Tennis balls.
I recently strung a racket for Chris, and then
You're like
opened
sniffing it.
Yeah, I was like,
That's why I was asking about this. I was like, is this sin gut? Because I might smell it. Paulie doesn't really smell.
Coming soon to Tennis Warehouse.
I was at my desk opening the thing, and I was just doing it, and I didn't see that Chris is looking at me. He's looking at
Are
like,
you okay?
He probably was thinking like he's gonna string my racket with that.
Okay. Well,
My
there you are.
last
Yeah.
gear hot take is that high top tennis shoes need to make a comeback.
Oh, I agree.
See the
And Coco.
Yeah, the CG ones.
Yeah.
Prince Phantom ones.
That was sick.
The AirTech Challenge needs to become more available.
Yeah, for sure.
Give me a
That
high top
shoe's
Nike.
sick.
Give me a high top Nike.
Vapor 12 with like a larger profile.
On the Roger Clubhouse mid, whatever
Advantage
that was,
Pro.
the one that was not a
The
tennis
earlier
shoe,
ones,
make it a tennis shoe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the earlier ones, I like those.
Those
yeah.
are cool.
You have a black one as well, don't you?
I have white.
Oh,
I think
okay.
Britt has black.
Yeah,
maybe.
I've seen someone around. That's
Yeah.
I would be down for that. I'm not a basketball fan, but there are a lot of shoes that I see walking down retail stores and all that. And like Zach, Foot Doctor, shout out, has talked about like the basketball shoes working fairly well on the tennis court. If anything, they're a bit more stable as well. I would love to see designs like that come
Yeah.
to the tennis wall.
That'd be cool. And they actually, I think that's
And they do
there were
sometimes.
way back when. I mean,
Yeah.
mids were like a thing. And
Remember
now
the
they're not.
Jordan and Federer
trying to
collab
evolve.
for the?
Oh yeah, the elephant.
That was crazy.
Or the Kyrie.
Yeah.
Kyrgios.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I played with a guy who grew up and he played in Steph Curry shoes.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
there's a
He's a great
lot of
tennis
chatter
player.
about that. Basketball and tennis shoes kind of
Yeah.
can be.
Well, what's her name? Layla was wearing basketball shoes.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I would love to see that.
We're not going to have time to go over non-pro and general. So which do you want to choose? Rec level. We only have 5 minutes.
Let's do
Rec
rec.
level.
Let's
and
do
then
rec.
we'll hold space for
We'll
another
do a whole
episode.
new one of
Yeah.
just hot takes. I think this is a good topic. to talk about.
Perfect. Okay, so rec level hot takes. Who wants to start?
Okay. Rec level players, and I'm not gonna say specific, but like let's say 2-0s to like 3-5s or like level. I think they are a bit too specific when it comes to their gear and like I need my tension at 50 pounds.
50.5.
50.5, otherwise I will be spraying too much, or like I need the swing weight at 310, otherwise I can tell the difference of the balance. All that I feel like I get
He's
your
animated.
point.
Like, you're saying this?
But I'm not a rec level player.
Well, do you know? I think you're confusing rec level versus like lower level. and,
Yeah,
like,
that's why I
intermediate.
didn't wanna say that.
Recreation can be anybody
Yeah.
that doesn't play pro.
Well,
Yeah, that's what I-
yeah,
yeah,
Different with rec level
generalize.
Right.
players.
Like 4.0, 4.5s are rec level.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sure, facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
That's why I didn't want to say the.
But
that's
so
why I didn't wanna say
you're
the-
confusing the word, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
But what's the
think
difference
that,
between like a 4.5 doing it and a 3.0?
Facts.
I don't think either one should be doing it.
That's the hot take.
As specifically, I think we need to chill a little bit on the specs and maybe just play better tennis. That's
not.
what my hot take is. That's just
Okay.
that's my hot take.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
hot take.
That's a good point.
Okay.
But
Next.
the rebuttal on that is like, okay, if you're not going to be too particular on the tension and stuff, then maybe they should restring more often, right?
Ooh.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got to get the,
we're
that
still-
part in there,
yeah. Yeah, we're still a retailer.
You got a hot take? Rec level? General?
No, just a pet peeve, kind of like the,
Pet
rec
peeve, we
players,
can
like,
evolve this.
like hanging out at the courts, and like I come with a lot of rackets when I go out to live ball or whatever. And they're like, "Why you got such a big bag?" and, and it's like because I have like 8 rackets in there, and I'm
Yeah.
testing like 5 different strings.
You're like, do you know me?
but the one thing I hate is like the people that don't test like we do or try lots of different rackets. They're just like, oh, I hate head rackets.
Yeah. Generalize.
I hate the Babylon. The Babylon hurts my arm. Or, just
the
like
Babylon.
Yeah, and I'm like, because then you sit down and you just listen because you hear all this crazy stuff. But you like sit down with them and you talk and you're like, well, yeah, I tried this liquid metal 4 and the thing sucked. I'm like, that racket was 20 years old. There's been,
how old
Head
are the
comes out
strings
with
in
like
there?
40 rackets a year. There's
Yeah.
like so many different silos.
Yeah.
It's like they hit with one racket in their history and
Yeah.
they make a claim
Yeah.
like,
On the entire
well, that
brand.
Yonex, that doesn't have the feel. The head shape, the Yonex head shape, it just throws my game off.
I like
That used to
this.
be
I
me.
like
Yeah,
The
okay.
E-zone is overhyped.
I get that. But like
circle.
the thing is like making these bold statements and then they're spreading it at their club when they've only tried like 2 head rackets
Ooh,
in their lifetime.
Can I jump into that?
I
real
get it. I
quick?
get it. Like a lot of these clubs are tied to a
Yeah,
brand. Anyways,
yeah.
but yeah, you go to say.
Oh, well, I'm just going to piggyback and then send it to Oak. The coaches and teaching pros don't always know that much about gear and sometimes are telling you to get gear that might not be the best option for you.
Agreed.
You should always
Yeah.
demo and try things yourself. Oak, your turn.
Hit us up on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll help you.
So my take for rec players is that instead of overhyping and focusing too much on developing and perfecting their technique, they should focus more so on emphasizing what makes them them.
Dude, you've been hanging out with Tim Foley.
I have been hanging out. Tim Foley.
Have you?
Yeah, he
Yeah, dude.
he did kind of get me on this. We were talking about Fabrice Santoro a lot.
That's his favorite player.
That's what he was saying. Yeah, and I don't know. I gained a lot of respect for Tim in that conversation, but
Uh-oh.
I think technique. There are objective fundamentals, but I mean, you could watch all 4 of us play, and there are things that we all do differently. And so I think utilizing what makes you on the tennis court, and that's something even like Caru's talked about at the highest level. He's like, all those guys can hit incredible shots, but at a certain point, how are you imposing your style of play?
Yeah, he called out Manish, dude. He's like, I love
All
the
the-
guy. I
all the
love the guy
people-
that imitates
yeah.
Federer. Easy to
All the
play.
guys
Easy
were
match,
That
yeah.
was pretty funny.
Oh, thank you for the 3 points. I'm like, shut up.
But the Federer
I
thing,
like looking pretty.
yeah.
But does it work?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's my thing is like, I'm a big technical,
No.
I love talking technique. And that's just my brain, like playing all different sports. But mine's just be better. Like,
Yeah.
don't be a good tactician, be a good fighter, have good technique.
Tim Foley would ask
Do it
you,
all.
Yeah.
what's the goal?
Yeah.
But anyways, that's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
yeah,
nother
yeah,
episode,
yeah.
and we can do that
Because
again.
at a certain level, even on the, like, I mean, we're not all going to be pro, but like,
that ship has sailed.
just be better. Like, don't just be, a good tactician. Work on your technique too.
Right.
I have one more, and then I'm going to pass to Manish, and then we'll wrap this episode. There's 2 types of players that are non-pro players out there. The ones that think they're the absolute best, and the ones that think they're the absolute worst.
2 types of pro players.
No. This is non-pro. This is
Yeah.
like rec level.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
the players that think they're the absolute best and the players that think they're absolute worst. Like you have those players that tell you how good they are and like,
Yeah.
hey. And then you have
See,
the players.
I was gonna
The
say.
players that like are like, oh my god, I suck so bad today, even if they win or like whatnot. There's like those 2 divides. There's only 2. You're
Yeah,
either one
there's
or the
only
other.
two, yeah. I have been on both ends. I feel like I have
You go on
coming
both ends.
towards before I've even came here, I overinflated my capabilities so much.
That's funny. I've never.
And
It's
then-
a
I've never
tennis.
done
And
that.
I'm okay to
What do they
admit
call
that
it?
now.
I've
They
never
call it like a
experienced
tennis
that.
ego, right? Like your ego.
Yeah.
Your tennis ego.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
No ego,
Like-
amigo.
Because back home, like I was playing with all the kids and like I used to coach and like some of my friends and all that. And just one aspect of my game that I was so proud of, like, oh, I have a good serve. I have a great serve. Like it's like I win lots of points.
Never. I'm
You
the
know?
other one. I'm the second one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So until I came here and then I hit a serve and it came back the same speed, which I had never had happen before. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I
So-
think there's so much to that. There's
No,
so
I
much
know.
psychology,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think it's your
It's
upbringing.
obviously a
Yeah.
lot. It's a loaded.
yeah,
statement.
right. Like
Yeah.
I've always been the same way.
Yeah,
like I
you're
don't
like,
talk
yeah.
about my game.
Yeah.
People ask, "Are you a good player?" I'm like, "What's a good player?"
Yeah, exactly.
To me,
yeah.
Rafa's a good player.
Yeah.
Am I a good player? I'm okay.
I've
And they're
played
like,
them
"Whoa,
for a
what are you
minute.
talking about?" But like I grew up with my dad as my coach,
Yeah.
and like he's like kind of like that Uncle Tony, like. No, you suck. Go back to work.
Yeah.
Like, but if you get, patted on the back, oh, good job, like you think. certain players might think like, oh, okay, I'm doing good today.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying never be positive about yourself, but I've always had like the glass half empty, like shut up, go back to work.
Yeah.
Even Rafa, shut up, go back to work.
Rafa was my motivation for
Right.
that mentality
Yeah.
because he talks a lot about using doubt as motivation.
It's like it's just different, like you said. We should do an episode and we'll bring Tim in for
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta wrap this because I have a date on the paddle court. So
In like 5 minutes.
Not like
Hot
a
take,
date.
paddle's
Hot take.
more fun than
hot take, if you haven't tried
Whatever.
paddle, try it.
Whatever.
Before the
you
next
might like it
episode.
more
Yeah.
than Thomas.
Go have fun
It's,
doing it.
oh my
bit.
gosh, that's a whole that will be in general. We're gonna pause this. We're gonna carry it over into a general hot take because that actually could be one that I will use.
Whatever. Bendeja. What's
Bajada.
that? Bajada.
Bahada.
Chiquita. I'm a
The
Chiquita.
Chiquita is fun.
I like the Chiquita. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys for joining. This is super fun.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more. Let us know what you want to hear more of. And happy hitting. Woo!
Happy hitting.
Yeah.